Hello, everyone. This is Brian with the Stock Gauntlet. If this is your first time to the show, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to watch our content. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy it. The Stock Gauntlet is where we look at charts for over 100 common stocks and ETFs. Many of our episodes are private, so if you want the full series, come join us on Substack. That's unearnedinc.substack.com. As a reminder, Brian, the founders and operators of Unearned Inc. and Stock Gauntlet, are not registered broker-dealers or investment advisors. We are not subject to any trading restrictions. We may or may not have positions in any investment mentioned. Our content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be used as a source to make investment decisions. We do not guarantee future performance or equities mentioned. Individuals and or companies investing in any instrument must perform their own due diligence. Investing involves risk. You may lose all or more than your initial investment. Consult a licensed professional before making any investment decisions. Hey everyone, let's jump right into it. Brian here with from Unearned Income, or Unearned Inc. for short. It's been a while, so we're going to jump right in. Lots of stocks to cover today. I think last time we did an alphabetical order. This time we're going to go through as of Friday's close, 6/27, 2025. Lots to talk about because obviously, some bombings happened recently. There's more tariff talks and us getting into it with Canada. So lots of moving parts. It is the end of the second quarter for 2025, if you can believe it. So literally half the year is over. So yeah, it's time to make your moves. And let's just jump right in. So we're going to start with QuantumScape. This is the battery technology company. I think they had a deal with Volkswagen some long time ago. The stock traded at 114. You can see way back when, and it's just fallen off a cliff. It's starting to show life. Now it's up to about 772. That was a couple of days ago. It's pulled back some since then. It's at 662. I'd watch it. I think it's going to kind of fall back down to that 200-day, that 489. Not much to do there right now. Palantir, everyone loves Palantir. Unfortunately, this stock will do well if we get into more wars. Between this and Anduril with the pilotless drones, there's going to be just a lot of business in this. This is a buy to me. It pulled back slightly on Friday. I believe that's because it got too big for one of the indexes, and so there's some forced selling when that particular company can no longer be in that index. So it pulled back to 130. I think it right now it's like at 134. This will clearly go back up probably on Monday once it gets bought back up by the institutional buyer. So I still think this one is a good pick for the long term. Blink is showing signs of life. I haven't tracked why that is, but it was trying to peak over $1. Now it's at 92 cents. Something to pay attention to. Coinbase has been ripping for the past couple of weeks. Definitely get into this. Even if you don't want to buy Bitcoin directly, this is one way to play the whole crypto craze. Congress passed that recent policy around stable coins, which was also good for Coinbase. It's getting a little expensive right now, but it looks like it's going to start breaking through its all-time high. So if you're a 10, 20-year holder of this, it's probably not that high if you want to get in at 351 and just let it ride. Another way to play this is look at some of the covered call ETFs. Some cover Coinbase. I think one the other day, I don't know if it was, well, yeah, it actually was. I think I have it up here next. Coney is one that strictly tracks just Coinbase, and you can get monthly distributions tracking coin. There's a couple like that, but there was another one. I'm thinking of Hood. We'll get to Robinhood later. That had something crazy like a $6 return per share recently on their distribution. Enphase, man, I really wanted this one to work out. I got totally taken to the cleaners on this. It is back down to $40, and I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. So not much to talk about there. Plug Power, few shares in this. Maybe this thing will get back up to $3 at some point, but no rush. when you see stocks like this where it's just kind of going sideways, these are just long-term bets, and literally that's what they are. They're just kind of bets at this point. Alcoa, just kind of going sideways. AppLovin, this one was on fire, obviously, a while back, a couple of months back. It gapped up to 525. When was that? That was around 214, around, I guess, Valentine's Day. Yeah, and then appropriately, and then it kind of it's meandering around the 333 range. Nothing I'd want to do right there on that one in particular. Marvell seems to be turning the corner. This one you may want to pay attention to. Looks like it's probably gonna break that 200-day moving average and cross 83 soon. And again, it's a good space to be in with all the chip stocks. Atom, kind of going sideways. Rivian, I like Rivian. I wish, I really like their cars. Like, I see a couple of their SUVs on the road every now and then. It's crazy how many Teslas you see now compared to Rivian. I wish these guys, just get the funding where they can kind of really, accelerate their expansion. Because I think their SUVs look better than most other SUVs on the road right now. So we'll see what happens with them. But this one you got burned if you bought it at the IPO, which I did. And so now you're just kind of holding it and waiting for it to eventually come around. Pets has fallen back down again. It looked like it was breathing signs of life late last year in 24. It's back around 329. Beam kind of moving sideways. AI moving sideways. It is at the bottom of the range of this channel. If you look over here, kind of this, I got this bottom channel at 1805. So it may, if you have a long-term play in this, maybe it'll get back up to the $44 mark on that one. Next up, Domino's Pizza, 446. Not interested. Here's Robinhood. These guys are going crazy. Like this chart, this stock is just beautiful. How it's holding above the 20-day. I was on Twitter earlier this morning and I saw someone post something about Robinhood now offering mortgages. I think they partnered with a mortgage company, and so if you're a gold member, you have to be a gold member. I think you can get a mortgage now. And don't get me to lying, but it's kind of close to 6 or right under 6%, which is still better than probably the 7 or higher that some people are paying. And that's only because of where the rates are right now. I imagine if we get any kind of relief on rate cuts, Robinhood will probably be one of the first ones that'll get you back down to like the 5 or 4% range. So pay attention to these guys between the crypto. Their app is still, I don't care what anyone says, their app is still one of the easiest apps to use, especially for options trading. And now if they start doing mortgages, they're just going to be, again, they're going to be the next JP Morgan Chase. So 83 is a little expensive. You really wanted to catch this, kind of probably around the 65. But if you think this is a long-term play, definitely you can get in. This is the one, I believe there was a covered call ETF. I want to say, is it HOOY, Hui? I think they had a crazy distribution just because it's done so well over the past month and a half. Their distribution was like dollars per share. So people made thousands of dollars on their last distribution. If you're doing the covered call ETFs, check that out. Applied Digital, I still like this one. I like that it pulled back to the 10. I probably should have sold at 15. But if you can get, a couple of hundred, couple of thousand even shares, you would have doubled your money back here at the $7 range when it went up to 15. It's pulled back to 10. Probably wait a little while, see if it drops. I don't think it's going to drop that much more, but that's a potential one, short-term play there. CCJ, Cameco. This one, again, it's a perfect example of if you don't have enough dry powder, you got to spread yourself too thin. I was in this one, and literally as soon I kind of broke even, and as soon as I sold it, now it took off. If I had enough money, I would have stayed in this one because this one is the whole uranium play, and basically finding the source material for electricity for the reactors going forward. So a long-term play, this one's one to be in. But again, you only got so much money, so I had to pull funds out to fund another purchase. But it's already up to 73, and I got out at around 50 something. So check that one out. I just hate that I had to kind of pull out of that one. Dell pisses me off. I had options, held it for like 6 months at the 125. Got taken to the cleaners on that one because I was bought up kind of around here, close to when it was hitting that 147 range. And now it's finally getting back. I think it just crossed my strike price. So I lost out on that call option. But they have the partnership with NVIDIA, so I'm assuming because the chips are doing well again, NVIDIA specifically, maybe this one with their data center racks is starting to kind of turn around. Mara, crypto play, it's kind of going sideways. Chewy had a gap down. Looks like it's starting to close that gap. So if you want to do a short-term play there. Moderna, not touching it. Freeport. Freeport had a gap up. It's a wide range. I mean, it goes up to 53, down at the 25 level over here. I don't know about that one. I honestly don't pay attention too much to that stock, but I kind of have it on my list. Solar Edge, it's like one day, you hear one day like, yeah, we got to do more solar. That's the only thing that's going to save us. And then the next day is like, no, the White House hates solar, and we're gonna drill for more coal and do all of that. And it's just back and forth, back and forth. That just makes this kind of stock a gamble. So kind of proceed with caution. GameStop had a huge gap down. They're trying to do the strategy play like with Michael Saylor's strategy play with buying Bitcoin. This one's just fallen out of love for a whole bunch of reasons, probably most justified. But it looks like it's trying to make a comeback. I wouldn't touch it. CrowdStrike. This is the one I want to love. It got wrecked a little bit. Had a double bottom here around 300, and now it's already back up to 500. So this one, again, like if you have plenty of money and plenty of time, you should have clearly bought back at the 300. And this is not even hindsight 2020. I knew this was a good stock. It went through that whole crisis with the airlines when it took out all the airport monitors. But yeah, this one's a good long-term play, but you're not going to get rich on it overnight, but check that one out. Clover in a downtrend. Oklo, another one of these nuclear plays. It's pulling back a little bit, so pay attention to this one. I don't know, maybe basing out here at the 55 level. I'd still like to get it a lot cheaper. It did do a gap up, so maybe in the 40 range, if it gets back there, maybe you want to pull the trigger. So keep an eye on that one. Micron starting to roll over, had a good run, probably missed that one at this point. Evercore just crossed its 200. Copper, Global X copper miners, copper's starting to do well again. A bunch of the metals like platinum, apparently, I think platinum recently hit an all-time high. Silver's been doing a run. Obviously, gold has been doing great, but it had some recent pullbacks just because everybody now is getting back into the market because they think the market's getting hotter. So again, gold will go through that, but I think gold's still a great long-term investment. Like I said, we're into all types of passive and long-term holds with, that's our philosophy here at Unearned Income. So still continue to buy gold, maybe buy more silver right now before that runs up too high. Thermo Fisher, looks like it's starting to turn around, just crossed back over the 20. So check that out. It's expensive. Like it was in a pattern, kind of in a channel here. I had the bottom channel at 493. It broke through that. Maybe it's finding support here at 394. Again, this chart's on the weekly, so that's why it's different than the low over here that you see at 385, but something to look at. Soundhound, this thing, man, it goes up, pulls back down, then it had another gap down. Now it's sideways. This is one of those stocks where I think I bought kind of, if you were under 6, under 7, just kind of hold it. I think it'll eventually turn around, but in this level, it's kind of dangerous because it could still pull back some more. But I say, if you can get it under 7 or 6, I think it's hard to trade this one. I think it's just more of a long-term investment on AI voice and all that. National storage trending down. That's pretty interesting because, again, a lot of these REIT related stocks, this one is in obviously the storage space. I don't know what the yield is on this one. I'll have to check that later. But there may be a potential here. I had a baseline of at 30, so you're pretty close at 31. So maybe check out National Storage as a good long-term dividend play. Palo Alto. Palo's like in the CrowdStrike, same space. They're rolling over. Obviously, you can see they got resistance here at the 208, kind of that 200 level. Lots of resistance. So, you probably want to wait and see kind of what it does if it can actually break through. Then we have AES. This is another one with like energy storage. That's why I was interested in it. It just keeps breaking through my baselines here. 1, 2, 3. Finally, I think we're at a base. So this base I had originally put in at $10 a share, 10.08. We closed at 10.72 on Friday. So yeah, I think this one is probably one that's worth keeping an eye on next week. Maybe add to that position. Lyft, this one had a gap up, kind of going sideways. I'm not playing in the Uber Lyft space just yet. I know with Waymo, there's just a lot of noise going on right now. Hard to see who's going to come out on top. So I'm kind of staying away from the Uber Lyft play in the interim. Ulti, there's another one of these covered call ETFs going sideways, but paying a hell of a dividend right now. So very risky, warning. This one's extremely risky. Not so much like a long-term play, but it's gone down so much from 20. You can get in, this is one where you buy a couple of hundred shares, you get a nice dividend for a couple of months, and then decide if you need to get out and move that money elsewhere. Dollar Tree, I am really hoping this thing continues to go up. This was another long-term play for me. And I should say it was a trade, a swing trade for me over several months, and it just never crossed. I'm finally have broken even on it. It's now looks like it kind of broke through resistance, or at least my trend line was at 97. Again, it feeling like it wants to go back down, but I think if it can hold above that 97, maybe I hold it on a little longer. Fortinet, kind of going sideways. Bank of America, all the bank stocks are doing well right now. I think they just recently had their, forget what the test is called, where they have to have so many funds in the bank, but sounds like all the banks did really well. Everyone's still banking on at least one rate cut before the end of the year. I think maybe we get one. I don't think we get two. And I think that one is just going to be a gift, just because probably Jay Powell is tired of hearing Trump talk trash about cutting the rates. MicroStrategy or strategy. So this one, again, pullback. Bitcoin's kind of, meandering around the 100,000. I'm hearing talk of 150,000 by the end of the year, maybe over 200 in 2026. If that happens, obviously this one will run, but it's a little bit quiet right now. Tesla's having a hard time, but it seems like Elon's starting to lock back in. I think they just, obviously they got the Austin rollout with the self-driving vehicles, couple of mishaps, but thank God no one's reported anything like, major car accident or someone, being unalived or something like that. Saw something on Twitter today where I think they also did, from the Texas Gigafactory, the first delivery of a vehicle to someone's home who was buying a Tesla. So literally the thing rolled off the assembly line and it had instructions of where to go, like what's the address, and the car drove itself to the person's home. So that was like the first purchase where you can, like you order your Happy Meal, you can order a Tesla to have it delivered to your door. So pretty crazy. The future's here. You can hate on Elon and Tesla as much as you want, but the technology is still pretty cool. And remember, there's a whole lot of like brilliant engineers and scientists behind Tesla. So it's not the people want to make it the Elon show, but really give a hat tip and kudos to all the smart people that graduated from the tough engineering schools that are really making all that magic happen. Reddit, I really like Reddit. I just, again, don't have enough money to kind of put into this play. It's crossed 20, crossed onto 200. Get in this one while you can. It had 3 red days, which frankly I'm not mad about because it gives me a little bit more time to get into this one. It's peaked at 230. I think it's still one of the more beneficial social media apps. Like if you really want to know a question and hear real world answers. Sure, everyone's going to ChatGPT and Claude, but I really like the dialogue on some of the subreddits on that app. And so obviously they're putting a ton of advertising on some of the more popular subreddits. So I think this one clearly goes higher. Yeah, so definitely check out Reddit for a good trade. Long term, I don't know, they're not playing in that space with, Meta and all the others. So, but I think it would be a good swing trade for Reddit. GE Healthcare starting to come back. I like GE Healthcare. I just missed this one. They had a really nice sharp bottom and kind of bounced off, but probably gonna stay out of that one for now. Misty's the one that tracks strategy, or it was called MicroStrategy, so that's why they call this one Misty. But it's tracking strategy, covered call at the 21 range, just kind of going sideways. Which, again, if you got in this early at 42, you're probably thankful that there's no more NAV erosion. Knock on wood that there's no more NAV erosion. I know that's a controversial topic, but that's a pretty good level, a pretty good asymmetric bet if you think you can get some nice dividend distributions from that one and not have to worry about the NAV going down any farther. JP Morgan Chase, like I said, the banks are doing well. Man, I got like a few shares in this, I think. I was just playing around, and this one, that was back when it was $100. Now this thing is double that. So don't bet against Jamie Dimon. ExxonMobil, I like the energy plays just for the dividends. We're going to be using oil and petroleum products for a long time, regardless of what people say. 109 is always a good place to get into this one. I think my baseline was at 99. Again, this is not going to make you rich, but if you want a place to park your money and get a decent dividend, that's typically what this one is good for. Dow, kind of basing there. Golden Ocean, which what I call Gogol, not Google. Golden Ocean does dry bulk shipping. Lots of talk with like different straits and channels being closed down because of this country doesn't like that country and all this crap. This one suffered, but it had a really good dividend at one point. Look at it, but it was inevitable, right? So it was at 30 cents, went to 15 cents, and now they cut this dividend down to 5. So at this point, yeah, I'd probably stay away from it. But for a while, man, this thing was cooking. You could have made some nice distributions from this one. Kronos, I'm out of the marijuana plays because these damn things are taking too long to turn around. Why wait on these stocks in the marijuana space when you got the chip sector going gangbusters, banks are going gangbusters, AI is going gangbusters? I just don't see a reason to kind of put money into the marijuana stocks right now. TAN, this is a solar play. Omega Health, lots of noise. The chart is just extremely ugly. Looks like it's trying to form a base. I'd probably stay away right now. AIG, insurance, still holding up. This thing had a hell of a run, and now it's kind of just taking a breather. I probably wouldn't get in right away, but it's probably going to breathe for a while, and we'll see what happens. AGNC, 928. It's below its 200. It may close. These were these mortgage, if you're into the mortgage REITs, it was one that was a good play. Maybe one to kind of start looking at again. Seems like it's a little bit more stable. Spotify on a hell of a run. I missed this one. I didn't even see this one come in. But yeah, it's going. I was talking to someone the other day and I was telling them about radio ads and they laughed at me and they were like, nobody listens to radio. And I'm like, yeah, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm the only fool that gets in my car and turns on the radio. I'm just too lazy to turn on the Bluetooth and connect to Spotify. Side note, I think Google, what is it, CarPlay and Apple, I think both of those apps suck for the car. Like, there's so many features I think that are just don't work well, at least in my vehicle. Maybe it's the vehicle I got, but I don't like the the CarPlay apps for the vehicles right now. I think they got a long way to go to make it a little bit better experience. Rigetti. This is the gosh, can't think of it now. It's the chip, but it's the gosh, it'll come to me. Basically, it's supposed to kind of make our modern computing obsolete. Quantum. There we go. I can't even think of it. Quantum computing. This one hit at 21 at a high a couple of months back, kind of just going sideways. So not much to do there. Those are hard to trade. Microsoft, good old Microsoft hitting an all-time high. I'm not mad at it. This is probably one of the few stocks I would still hold and consider a long-term, or what we say a forever stock. But again, nothing's forever. So when I say a forever stock here, I'm talking about at least 10 years. I think this one you could still hold for another decade and be safe. Apple used to be in that same company. Maybe it still is, but Apple's just getting the crap beat out of it for various reasons. So Microsoft's the play though. Our lovely Realty Income just going sideways like it always seems to do. People love this stock. I own shares in O, but it's not one where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the O mafia. Like, I think there's other ones where you can get just as good a return and maybe get some growth. I think I looked at EPRT. I don't even know if I'm on that one. EPRT gives us a lower yield. I want to say it's around 3% right now, where O is at 5%. But I think EPRT probably has better growth. So I don't know. It's one to look at. If you're not on the O train, maybe take a look at Essential Properties, EPRT, as an option. But like I said, I'm playing both to see kind of where these goes. But I'm kind of, be honest, I'm sick of looking at O just kind of trading in this damn channel. Like, this thing can't get above 60 and stay there. So that's that. Qubits, D-Wave Quantum, another Quantum. Looks like that's turning over pretty hard. Was at 19, kind of coming down to 14. So we'll see. Get that one cheaper. ASML, another long term. This thing was over $1,000. If you have the money, if you got, some of you guys that follow me, you got the tens of thousands out there. I wouldn't mind throwing 10 grand at this one and letting it ride, because this one will clearly go back up to 1,000 a share. So Tractor Supply, I thought this thing was going to move, but kind of what I call the rural Home Depot play. But yeah, it's, especially in places that still have a lot of land, like Texas, I think these things will grow. But right now, it's not kind of moving. I think I'm even on this one right now, but I was hoping it really took off. U-Haul, kind of going sideways. Applied Materials crossed the 20 and the 200. So this one may be on the way up if you want to look at that one. Amcor got destroyed, and now it's finally above the 20. But now I don't like Amcor because you lost me a bunch of money, so I'm not looking at that one. Enterprise Products Partners. This one kind of going a little bit side. It had a nice run. If you look at the weekly over the 15-year, that thing kind of was moving. It's I don't know. It could keep going. It possibly could keep going. Altria, if you're into the tobacco play and you want a nice dividend, the dividend is maintaining $1.02 a share for every share you own, and it's kind of stable, just a good place. If you got a big account and need a place to park your money, that's definitely a spot. Melly, I cry tears every time I see Melly, because I could have got this at 1,000 a share. But again, expensive just from a whole number standpoint. Again, if you have a big account, if you're in the 100,000, 200,000, and you want to spend $1,000 a share on this one, this was one to do it on, because it's like the Amazon of, I don't know if they're outside of Brazil or only in Brazil, but yeah, now it's over 2,000 a share. So this thing this thing was, sometimes it's easy to know what the plays are, but if you don't have the money and you're not willing to take out margin or do, put your house up for sale, some of these you're just going to miss. Skip all of those. All right, so now we're into the greens again, and these are, I know you can't see it on the screen, but I'm tracking on my watch list here. These were the ones that were green as of Friday in terms of ending the day in the green. So while Etsy has been in a downtrend, I believe it went up, slightly. I think it was like 2 cents or something. Or yeah, 0.01 when it ended the week. Yeah, it's weird, but I wouldn't touch Etsy anyway. iShares, I think this is an Israel play. I believe this may be the Israel ETF. Looks like it had a gap up, so we'll see. Lots of talk of Israel right now, so see what that happens. Week, skip it. Apple just going sideways at 201. If you bought really early, if you're like in the $60 range, like if you bought down here, like look at this over here where you had here was resistance. It formed a base here on 3.9. That was 3.9 2020 over 5 years ago. So yeah, if you bought here at the 58, you're not complaining. You're still up 3x or whatever. Yeah, it's one, but we'd like to see it above 200. Hopefully, you can get back to 233. So we'll see. I haven't lost all hope in Apple yet. Skip one. Northrop Grumman. People always talk about these stocks like, oh, if we go to war, these things will go through, but they never do. Like, they never really, they're not runners like the AI stocks and the chip stocks. If you really want runners, I'm not looking at these defense stocks as the play to kind of do some great trade. But again, that's just me. I'm maybe more impatient. Now if I got in at 426 here and I was willing to wait 2 months, 426 to 540, that would have been a great trade. But again, you would have had to have been able to catch that one. This one is looking on this 15-year. Obviously there's some kind of base here around the 376 range, 380 range. But, like I said, 423, probably another area. I just don't play in those ranges. Generac finally taken off, approaching that 200-day, crossed the 20, something to look at. This thing got up to 195 and on the 15-year, 498, it traded at intraday. What's this one? L3 Harris, another defense. CDW, they do all the computer AV devices for like education space they're big in. Kind of going sideways. AMD. So let's talk about AMD. Shout out to Troy. Give Troy his flowers on EYL because he's the only one that has faith in AMD and Lisa Su. So I'm right there with Troy on this one. I'm glad to see that they finally broke above the 200-day. They're at 143. I do think they're going to pull back here for a bit. So we'll have to kind of see what happens. But we'll see. I think they still have some room to run. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Hymax. 944. Looks like it's trending. This one may run a little bit. Penn Entertainment, I think they had some good news that recently came out. This is another area. These guys are like the MJ stocks. The whole gambling and prop bets. They're just not performing like people thought they were going to perform. This one got some nice gap from the 20. The 20 was here at the 1677. Had a nice gap 2 days ago. It's definitely going to cross the 200 at some point. Again, not a long-term play, though. Like, you may want to swing this one and get in, get out if you think you can kind of run this up. I wouldn't even know where to run this one up to. Like, you got some resistance here, which it clearly looks like it's going to break. Possibly a channel here, so maybe you can get back up to 22, maybe 20. So from the 18 to 22, if you want to play that short rip. Possibly. Ulta Beauty gapped up, and now it is kind of going sideways. I'm probably not going to touch that right away. Global Net Lease. I don't know too much about this one, so I'm not going to comment. But either way, just looking at the chart, it looks like it's going sideways. But I got to do more research on that one. For some reason, I put it on my watch list, so I got to figure out, kind of reorient myself on that one. Udemy, the online, massive online courses. They're kind of sideways. They've fallen from grace from 30 a share a couple of years ago. Maybe they'll turn it around. Lockheed, another defense. Starbulk, another bulk carrier. Blackline. Wow, this had a gap down, and it's made up that gap. Well, it's kind of come back to the gap, and see if it'll close that gap at 56. But I haven't been watching that one too much. CubeSmart, another storage company, had a dip. It's kind of going sideways. Coty, sideways. Qualcomm had a nice recovery from 120, already back to 158. This was a big stock. I used to track this one many years ago. I don't follow it too closely, but I know they're making a lot more noise than they have in the past few years. So this one you probably want to start paying more attention to if you haven't been looking at it. GX. This is another. I want to say this is another one of these another one of these covered call ETFs. I know it's popular on Twitter because, again, it's another one that gives high distributions. I don't know if this is one that does weekly or monthly, but again, if you're into it, look at this one because I know a lot of people track and follow this one. Good old Costco. If you saw our Twitter account, we posted, I finally went into Costco and actually saw one of those gold bars in the case, in the jewelry case. It wasn't the PAMP. It was from another gold, company, organization. I don't know what you call them, miner, whatever. Yeah, but it wasn't the PAMP. It was a different one. 985, it's still expensive. I still think it's a good place to park your money. And again, pay attention to the dividend, $1.16, $1.16, $1.30. These guys aren't going out of business. Yeah, it's expensive. You're not going to get rich overnight, but you're not going to probably lose a ton of money either. Adobe, I don't know what's the deal with Adobe, but I'm sad for Adobe because this was actually when I started trading many years ago, decades ago. Probably Adobe was one of the first companies shares I bought. I made good money on it, but to know that this stock was at 688 a share and we're now down at 385. You got Canva nipping at its heels. If I hear another person tell me about Canva, it's good, but I'm old school, learning Adobe the hard way. But nobody cares about that, right? People want it easy and fast, and AI is doing that. And so I don't even think I have a position in Adobe anymore. This one, yeah, I think it's unfortunate, but that's kind of what's happening to some of these companies. Rio Tinto, in a downtrend. Nothing for me to do there. SPY is another covered call ETF that follows the SPY, so you can get a little bit more juicier dividends. Vici, what is going on with Vici? This is the Las Vegas Strip play. They own a lot of the real estate underneath the casinos. I have a video on that if you haven't seen, about REITs in general. But I kind of felt falling out of favor on this one. It just trades in this channel, and right now it's at the top of the channel, around the 32. If you can get this one back under, around the 27, 24, maybe you accumulate more shares. AT&T has had a hell of a run. Look at this downtrend. This is a perfect downtrend channel, and it hit here. I bought some shares. I was like, this thing is way too low. And sure enough, just over the past, now I guess 2 years almost, this thing has finally come back to 27, 28. You would have had a really nice return, almost doubled your money, and you would have doubled your money while collecting a 27-cent dividend. It is now completely taken a breather, but that's okay. I don't know if it's worth getting out of it. I probably wouldn't add anymore right now. So now it's just kind of sitting where it's sitting. If this thing starts to turn over, I may get a little nervous and say, do you kind of take your chips off the table and say thank you AT&T? But keep an eye out on that because I definitely hope that doesn't turn over because but it's had a great run. Beyond Meat, I really need to take this one off. Like this one's at $3. It'll come back up, but the future for that one's dicey. I Spy, another covered call. Snowflake in the cybersecurity, making a run. Probably missed it though. I don't know if I jump in at this point. Comcast, I don't even know why I have this one on here, but it is what it is. Ally, another bank making a run. I had some shares in this and I was going to sell it. And I'm like, well, all the banks are starting to make a run again. Because again, this one, if you got in, I was on this run when it was down here and it went to $55 a share. And that was just some hell of a run. And then it gave it all back. And I'm like, oh my God, I sat here and watched it give it all back. And now it's starting to kind of run back up. I don't know if I want to keep holding it to get back up to 55, but I want to see how it does in this 39.40 range. So it's coming up here again to resistance at this 40. If it can blow through that, then maybe I keep holding it. If it can't break through that 40, I may be like, let me take my money off and go do something else with it. I was only keeping it because again, it had a hell of a run, and all through this run, it had an awesome dividend of 30 cents. So those are the ones I like. Again, we're all about the passive income, and this is an example of a stock, to go back to it, where not only did you have a hell of a run in the stock price, but you also got the dividend along during that whole period. So those are the ones you really want to look for, but you got to be active. You got to be active to get the best passive investments. QQQM, I think this is one of the leveraged ETF, or it follows the NASDAQ 100. Looks like that's on the rise up with the rest of the market. 500, this is the RSP, the SPY equal weight, kind of starting to finally got above the 200, so definitely pay attention to that. On the equal weight side, Riot. Don't follow this one too closely, but I know a lot of people follow this one again in that space, in the crypto space. Broke the 200-day, so this one may have a little bit of room. QDTE, covered call on the 100. I think this one's on the NASDAQ 100. Covered call. Fastly, don't really track. It's going sideways. Upwork had a dip, may start kind of recovering. Basing, VTI, kind of your baseline to follow the market. You can start to see had a little bit of a gap there. Yeah, this market, it just still feels like there's still room for it to go. So be careful. 6 more months left in the year. The thing to keep note of this, right? With 6 more months left in the year, you got to get through Halloween, November, right? Sometimes you see a run, and then into that Christmas, do you get the rally? I don't think we got the rally last year that people wanted. And so people will start taking their chips off the table in that November, December timeframe and say, hey, this was mostly a sideways year. And so I think people are going to hope that we push a little bit higher, but be careful in that last quarter of this year because again, it hasn't been the easiest of years, that's for sure. So don't get greedy and try to hold this thing to December 31st thinking you're going to max out your gains. All right, Cadence, going to speed up here a little bit. These all, again, ended green for the day. They do the chip architecture. They're just kind of going sideways, and they're kind of at their top. Roku, kind of breaking away from its 20 and 200 day. This thing used to be 473 a share. That's insane. It just tells you how cooked the market. Like there was a lot of millionaires made back then, in that back here in this same thing here. All of these, Shop was at 169. All of these, that year 2021 was some run. Probably not much I'm going to do there. SPGI, S&P Global. I like this one, but it's expensive for me, so I'm not in it right now. HubSpot, good CRM marketing platform, kind of a host of tools, especially for mid-sized businesses. Pulled back, went up to 881. This is one, keep your eye on this one. This one may be a good one to get back into. Start approach that 20-day, and if it could head back towards the 633, this is definitely one I would look at. But it's expensive to trade because it's 550 a share. So, but that's one you can look at. This is the S&P 500 0-day. That's at 443. This one had some serious NAV erosion, but it's starting to come back. So if you get in now before it starts to kind of run back. YMAG, same thing, another covered call. This is on the Magnificent Seven. Five Below. Look at Five Below having the run. Wow, this thing peaked at 225 or around the 225 range. It's now back up to 130, and it's had a bunch of green days with the gap. With the gap back here on 5.9. That's pretty impressive. Schwab, large caps, starting to break away. BHP, sideways. Airbnb, sideways. Magnite, I finally got out of this one. I got out of it a little early because it's actually just about to cross the resistance. I was just sick of holding this thing. I bought this thing like, I don't know how many years ago. It's probably a good 5 years ago. This crap went up to $61 a share. Again, that was a great time. It was the best of times and the best of times. And now it's back to 21. It's like 1/3 of its peak. And I'm just tired of holding it, so I got out of it. PayPal, the PayPal Mafia, it's still sideways right now. Datadog, trying to break out. Visa's a good long-term play, but nice dividend of 59 cents a share. But you're not going to get rich off of it, but good stable play, obviously. Zillow is doing Zillow. Market's complete crap for if you're a home seller, unfortunately. Home buyers now have plenty of inventory, which is good. So hopefully more people can be homeowners if they want to be homeowners. This one will probably start creeping back up. So I think the housing market, it's gotten beaten down enough where it'll probably start slowly coming back. But don't expect this one to make you money overnight. If you just want to be in real estate or one of the real estate plays, I think I was in Compass for a while. That one I thought had a little bit more potential than Zillow, but Zillow's still out there. Whirlpool, I missed this one. I knew this thing was going to freaking go back up off of 80. It's already at 96. It's approaching the 200-day. Pay attention to the gap. It gapped down here at 113 or so. I don't know. It may be worth exploring this one again. It closed at 108 when it gapped down. So you can run from 96 to 108, cross that 200-day. I mean, this thing used to be a $252 stock. So, and again, this one follows if the home market turns around, if people buy more appliances, it'll keep going. So, really nice dividend of 175. Yeah, if you had a chunk of money, you probably can buy the shares instead of the options and enjoy some of the dividend. For a swing trade, it's still a little risky. I think it was less risky. It was absolutely less risky in the 80, even at the 85 level around here. So it gapped up. Even if you got in at the 82 level, I probably would have done a pure options trade on that one. Striker, like Striker, but it's expensive right now. MasterCard doing its thing. Intel still avoiding. There's some people making money on this, right? Like it hit at 27. This thing was at 22. If you got a ton of money to kind of, play that $5 move, go for it. But probably not my first pick for a swing trade. Cohen and Steers making a trend back up. Jabble, this was the one, again, I think I called this one out as well. This is the one to be in. You can be in this one for a while. You were supposed to get in at 169 roughly. This thing is now at $218, so killing me. And it had a dividend. It's crazy. A little dividend, but still. Um, yeah, this is one that kind of got away. Salesforce, people have the love hate with Salesforce. I'm not going to trade it. It's sideways. Pulte Group, again, now this is an actual home builder. 105, maybe it's caught a little bit of a base here, kind of resting, in that 97. So if you want to jump into, I don't know if Pulte may be the largest in the country. If not, I know it's in the top three, if not the largest. Meta doing its AI thing. I think Meta's about to break an all-time high, probably, if it hasn't not already. If it hasn't, it's probably going to break it in the next couple of weeks, if not next week. We'll see. And Meta, remember, is actually giving a dividend now. So what do you know? I think Meta has legs. Twilio, all the text messaging apps that everyone's using, from the restaurants to your doctor's office. Yeah, it's a little kind of, you've already missed the big run. But here, potentially a large cup over 2.5 years, and then maybe forming the handle. So maybe you get in this one, 122, even if you ran this to the original gap down, 122 to 139, this may be worth a look. So maybe look at Twilio as a potential. DoorDash. I hate the service. The stock's been on a tear. I just missed it, but people want their Happy Meals delivered at home. 6th Street. I heard there may be a couple of liquidity events for 6th Street that haven't come out yet. I'm just saying, I'll leave it there. So stock's definitely running because obviously somebody knows something. So I love these BDCs because they have high dividends. 46, it's paying a 46 cents a share dividend, and the share price is only $23. So you could do the math. Has a very nice yield right now. So yeah, definitely look at that. Tell them Brian sent you on that one. Neo, down. Don't even talk about it. Frog. DR Horton, another one kind of turning the bend now. I think it's found its base, which is good for the home builders. DocuSign, looks like it's finding a base there. Caesar, the Vegas play, looks like it's turning around. I probably still wouldn't touch the Vegas play right now. Coca-Cola, these stocks just annoy me. Pepsi's been a disaster, but Coke has been better than Pepsi. That's one thing you can say. But I'm not touching those right now. Netflix doing its thing. What they got? Squid Game season 3. They got all kinds of stuff still coming out. I think I just started The Waterfront. Just watched the first episode last night. Pretty good show. At least first episode is really good. So yeah, Netflix is still putting out some good content. Service Titan. This is one I just added to the watch list. Haven't done a lot of analysis on it. I want to say it's fairly new. It is actually hitting a base. I may actually want to get into this one. I'm glad I looked at this. So 107. I'm not saying I'm going to go trade options on it, but this one may be one to kind of definitely dabble in. Not the cheapest on a per share basis, but definitely check that one out. Walmart going sideways. We're almost finished here because I know we're coming up on the hour. This damn 3D has been a disaster. RTX, GE making an I don't even think that's an all-time high. I can't say that. My chart doesn't go back that far. I think long term, if you were like someone who worked at GE back in the 70s, you may still be down, but it's definitely had a hell of a run in the past 5 years. So congrats if you got in the past 5 years and rode this thing back up. Match, yeah, not much to say there. Williams Sonoma, Chipotle, CMG, about to kind of hit that 200-day. Not really rocking it out of the moon. This was one to have gotten back, back in 2022. That's going to be a slow grind. Texas Roadhouse is kind of finding a base, just kind of going sideways. Lulu, Yeah, Lulu got hammered, but it may find a base here, 219. Yeah. Um, you see it hit this bottom here. So this definitely looks like 227. The 219 was probably the worst case. So yeah, this is something that you can look in. I'm probably not going to take a position on these apparel ones right now, but yeah, I think that may be a good swing trade. So check that one out. Carrier on the appliance, HVAC, home builder play. Definitely broke through the 200 and the 20, so something to look at. DraftKings, again, another one that's pissed me off. This thing used to be 71 back in the heyday. It is approaching. It is trying to close the handle. Had the nice long cup over a few years. Looks like a double bottom here, here. So it's kind of like a half broken or double handle. And now it's trying to come back up to that 43. So yeah, one to look at. I'll leave it at that. But if it does go, you may want to kind of cash in a little bit if you already owned it. VeriSign, really like this company in the security space, but unfortunately, fairly expensive, and it's already had a pretty good run up. So, wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes. Oh, and it looks like they started a dividend too. I totally missed that announcement. Looked like they started a dividend of 77 cents. So, good job there for those that already were in it. Compass, this is the one I said, like, this is kind of the gamble play. Really long cup over several years, maybe trying to form a handle. 641. Hey, it's asymmetric. I don't think it's going to go down much further. So if you got some money, you throw it on there. If this thing goes up to 9 or 10, you've kind of you've got a 50% return. So that's pretty nice if that pans out. Ford still jacking around at the $10 a share range. This stock just loves being around that $10 range, I tell you. Dollar General, nice gap up, but now it's accumulating in the 114. I don't know if I'd jump in right now, but T-Mobile turning around. Target, not touching Target. I'll stick with Walmart. CRISPR, definitely kind of turning around on the uptrend, on the CRISPR Therapeutics, on the gene splicing. Affirm, yeah, this buy now, pay later is wild, but got a big cup. Got a big cup over 3 years, and then it's going to hit this handle. This thing was a 164 stock. It probably has some room to run. If you want to hold on to get to 80, that's a nice return. But again, take out, you probably want to be at least 5 to 6 months out. That's going to take you into January of next year. I certainly, take that time out if you're doing the options play. But man, if this thing goes up even halfway to like 74, I'd cash my chips out, October, November at the latest, and take whatever return you got. I wouldn't try to hold that thing too long. Booking, looks like Booking's making all-time high. Wow, amazing. Nvidia is now finally breaking out. This one made a lot of people rich, and now it's back to the moon. So can't go wrong with that one. That's a long-term play. I wouldn't even trade this one. Great company, obviously, great stock. Just buy the stock and don't try to gamble on everything. Zoom Communications kind of just going sideways. Live Nation. I always said Live Nation was the one to get in the $80 to $100 range. Again, if it ever gets back down there, I would buy. People love the concerts and entertainment. Are you not entertained? Sonos going sideways. Trade Desk opened another position in Trade Desk. I just like this company overall for the display ad space. We're going to see more and more advertising. It's just inevitable. And it had a huge gap down. I think this one will recover. So I'm dabbling, accumulating in that one. Taiwan Semi, obviously, it's another one you'd wish you could hold, but because of the China politics and it's always going to be at risk. It just always is. Macy's is another one. It's like freaking Ford. It loves that $11. It is at a base. If you think you can ride it back up to 20, you can, but not going to be overnight. Paychecks got slaughtered this week. I forgot what the news was about, but not good for them. I think they had earnings and got slaughtered. Pepsi, like I said, hate it. Yeah, it's forming a base, but I still wouldn't buy that damn thing. Google, Google with the new what is it? Is it Vimo or whatever the artificial intelligence to make the movies? That stuff is impressive. So watch these guys to kind of turn it around. I think people kind of forgot about them. And Google, I think they're like, yeah, just don't look at us right now. We're locked in. And I think they're going to come out with bigger and bigger things. So those are the companies to watch. Like they're going to stay quiet and then just come out with stuff that just blows you away. So I like that strategy. Hopefully it pays off for Google. Staying away from the casino stocks. Like I said, this thing was a wedge and it's trying to wedge, but it's just taking a damn long time. Fubu, want this thing to get back to 6. I have a little bit of a position, but taking a long time. Pinterest, Expedia, VST. Look at Vistria just rocking. That's an all-time high now. I wouldn't get in right now. SoFi starting to break away again. This thing, I think, peaked at around 25 a share. If you're not in already, probably a little bit late to get in. But, if you're doing a quick swing trade, you can probably get 5 more points on that. But I'm in it for the long term. I'm one where I feel you can accumulate stock on that one. Adtalem, I like this from the education, especially online education space. Had a little bit of a gap up and pulled back, and now I think it's going to start heading back to 140. So I like it. This is one, if you have more money, just accumulate. Curve, this was Amazon's, if you want to get distributions, dividends on Amazon, this is a covered call play you can do. And there's the stock. The stock is obviously a better long-term play. If you can afford $223 a share, get into that one. Billy, one of the Asian stocks. This one just stays around the 21 range, so probably wouldn't touch it right now. Another quantum computing one, 17. Chegg trying to make some moves, but then it just falls back down to like 1.3. Not touching it right now. Exact Sciences kind of had a peak on Friday, playing around that $53 range. We'll see what happens with that. Unity, same thing, meandering. Carvana. If you didn't catch the run on Carvana, this is not the one probably to get into right now, but that's just my opinion. I can't believe how this stock has just performed, so I've been completely wrong on its performance. This thing is almost like GameStop, for crying out loud, but I'm not going to take that gamble. Or maybe I put a whole bunch of money in and do people a favor and just buy puts. So if you buy puts on this one, as soon as you hear me enter a position on this one as a long, go buy puts because it'll just crash the very next day. Teladoc, this thing got hammered in the telehealth space, actually trying to peak back to the 200-day. Look at that. But again, if you were in this early, you lost a ton of money, so you probably don't even want to play with it anymore. ARM breaking away, heading towards its high. Boeing, look at Boeing having a big spike from 202 to 214. Company's not going out of business. It's a long swing trade. It's one that you can put, if you got thousands of dollars to put into it and you don't mind kind of waiting a couple of months, you'll make a decent return on that. Peloton, the Peloton, this thing just never recovered. It's making a slight comeback, starting to get above that 200-day. But it's slow. They've done partnerships and trying to get their bikes in, hotel gyms and things like that. But that's just a painful stock to be in. And then lastly, HIMS. I think HIMS is a great long-term play. I know they had a falling out. I don't know if it was with Novo on the weight loss drugs, but I think people are overreacting. There's so many other drugs that these guys want to deliver through mail, and everyone's just getting hung up on the weight loss drugs. With mental health, with diabetes, there's so many other drugs out there. Like you think there's a lot of people with health problems now. come back to us in like 10 years and see how many more drugs people are going to be on. I think these guys just kill it in the long term. So trading may be a little bit dicey, a little bit hard to do that right now because of it's pretty erratic. But if you want to build a small position and wait for it, that may be a good long-term play. All right, folks. Thanks for hanging in there with us. If you made it this far, we are a slightly over 1 hour mark. Definitely like this video. Definitely subscribe to this channel. We take a long time to go through all of these stocks, but we think it's worth it because hopefully in all the ones that I went through, you'll find, 4 or 5 gems that you can go research, investigate, and then decide, hey, am I going long and buying the shares? Am I trying to do a quick swing trade? But those are the two things that we profess the most. We like the swing trades, or we like holding it long term because obviously that's the best and easiest way to invest and grow your money. And then, we covered a couple of REITs and some passive income plays while you're growing your account. So that's it. This is Brian, Unearned Income. Watch us later. Good luck trading. Bye-bye.